What up, body bags? BDG Reviews here. So, let me set the scene for you. It's 1992 in England, Halloween, and people are tuning in to what they think is probably just going to be like another, little ghost story type thing for the Halloween season. What they ended up getting was something almost on the level of what happened with Orson Welles with War of the Worlds. What they got was Ghostwatch. What this movie did is, at the time, obviously, it was 92, so it wasn't, people weren't as easy to fool as they were back in, in the 40s when Orson Welles did his thing. But what they did here was, it was a brilliant bit of filmmaking, really. The story of Ghostwatch is, it plays out like a reality show, like a look at this haunted house that's going on. So much so that they actually got, famous, like, actors, not playing characters, but playing themselves. They got, actual news reporters to do this as if it was like a live event of something that was going on. And what they end up doing is going into this house where this haunting stuff starts to happen and, trying to determine what's going on. What ends up happening in the movie, though, is, because it's being watched on TV by thousands of people, it's essentially created a giant seance, and it's bringing supernatural events into reality, and it's actually happening. Now, what happened with this movie, though, is because of the known faces that were in it, because of, like, the reporter type people who people believed, people started believing this. Now, this wasn't at the level of Orson Welles. This isn't, like, as big as that, but it did result in this movie after 1992 essentially being banned. And it didn't get another broadcast on British TV, I think, until, like, the early 2000s or something. Or maybe even the late 2000s, honestly. It was a long time. This movie has now been released on Blu-ray, thanks to 101 Films, I guess? I don't know. But in a kick-ass collector's edition. I've had a love for this movie for years. I went out of my way to find a copy of this when I first heard about it, because I heard, people saying, like, it's like this scary thing, it's so scary that they took it off the air and it's never been aired since. And that's kind of true, because it was. It plays out like your basic, like, ghost hunters type show. You got, like, these, the people going around the house investigating stuff, ending up determining that, like, one of the kids is actually doing everything. But then it becomes clear by the end that there's something else going on as well, and that really kind of freaked people out, it seems. I wasn't in England at the time. I was here in Canada, like, because that's where I live. But I remember hearing about it. I remember hearing about this scary thing that the BBC had put on that freaked people out. And honestly, it's effective. It's the sort of thing, as it is now, it's fake 100%, You go into it as a movie, But I could see, like, especially, like, people in Britain at the time, getting their little kids, putting them in front of the TV, like, oh, we're gonna watch like a little bit of a scary thing, and it wasn't Dracula, it wasn't Frankenstein. This was like a real house with like real people and real presenters that doing the job that they normally do. So it would be the equivalent of like, I don't know, like a found footage horror movie, but with like, current news people hosting it. Would give it an air of legitimacy. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. This movie is very understated. A lot of stuff is very, like, how can I put it? There's no there's not really any like jump scares or anything really. This is an atmosphere piece, and it works in an interesting way, because you got to remember this was shown on TV first, the first time it ever came across. So you'd see like a scene like in like someone's bedroom, and you'd think you saw something. And what they did is they actually had this interesting little conceit where they had people like calling into the show and saying, well, if you go back to such a time, like in the video, you can see something there. So they go back in time, but since it's fake, that video it's not the same video, so it's not there no more. It's a really, it plays with, if you think, like, if you saw this on TV at the time, and you didn't have the option at the time to rewind what you'd just seen, you didn't have the option at the time to, pause it and get a better look, you just think you saw this flash of something. And then someone calls into the show and says, hey, I think I saw something at such a time. And then they show you back the footage, but it's not there. It's like, it's a little... It can get under your skin. It really can. This is one of the few movies that I find genuinely kind of scary. It's just a creepy little bit of fun. For a rating, I give this is an S tier movie. I said before, the way I rank things, S tier, trump everything. S tier don't have to be the best technical movie. They don't have to be the best acted, the best cinematography, but there's just something about it that makes it special, and this definitely falls under the S tier. So take that for what you will. I definitely recommend everyone, if you're a horror fan and you haven't seen Ghostwatch, you owe it to yourself to see it. And you owe it to yourself to put yourself into that mindset when, like I said, you couldn't pause it. You couldn't turn it back to see, wait a minute, I thought I saw something there. Rewind. Like, oh yeah, I saw something. You couldn't do that at the time. Just give that a shot. Honestly, and you'll find a creepy, fun little flick that I will admit, the ending kind of jumps the shark. I won't get into it, due to spoilers, but a creepy little movie that really was locked away for way too long, and I'm glad it's back. So yeah, that's it for me. See you next time.